Aaliyah Dana Houghton was an American singer, actress, and model. Born in Brooklyn and raised in Detroit, she first gained recognition at the age of 10, when she appeared on the television show Star Search and performed in concert alongside Gladys Knight. At the age of 12, Aaliyah signed with Jive Records and her uncle Barry Hankerson's Blackground Records. Hankerson introduced her to R. Kelly, who became her mentor, as well as lead songwriter and producer of her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. The album sold 3 million copies in the United States and was certified double platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. After facing allegations of an illegal marriage with Kelly, Aaliyah ended her contract with Jive and signed with Atlantic Records.
Aaliyah worked with record producers Timbaland and Missy Elliott for her second album, One in a Million, which sold 3 million copies in the United States and more than 8 million copies worldwide. In 2000, Aaliyah appeared in her first film, Romeo Must Die. She contributed to the film's soundtrack, which spawned the single Try Again. The song topped the Billboard Hot 100 solely on airplay, making Aaliyah the first artist in Billboard history to achieve this goal. Try Again also earned Aaliyah a Grammy Award nomination for Best Female R&B Vocalist. After completing Romeo Must Die, Aaliyah filmed her role in Queen of the Damned and released her self-titled third and final studio album in 2001.
On August 25, 2001, Aaliyah and 8 others were killed in a plane crash in the Bahamas after filming the music video for the single Rock the Boat. The pilot, Luis Morales III, was unlicensed at the time of the accident and toxicology tests revealed that he had traces of cocaine and alcohol in his system. Aaliyah's family later filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Black Hawk International Airways, which was settled out of court. Aaliyah's music continued to achieve commercial success with several posthumous releases and has sold an estimated 24 to 32 million albums worldwide. She has been credited for helping to redefine contemporary R&B, pop, and hip-hop, earning her the nicknames the Princess of R&B and Queen of Urban Pop. Billboard lists her as the 10th most successful female R&B artist of the past 25 years, and the 27th most successful in history.
Aaliyah Dana Houghton was born on January 16, 1979, in Brooklyn, New York, and was the younger child of Diane and Michael Miguel Houghton. She was of African American descent. Her name has been described as a female version of the Arabic Ali, but the original Jewish name Aaliyah is derived from the Hebrew word Aliyah, meaning highest, most exalted one, the best. The singer was highly fond of her Semitic name, calling it beautiful and asserting she was very proud of it and strove to live up to her name every day. Aaliyah's mother enrolled Aaliyah in voice lessons at an early age. She started performing at weddings, church choir, and charity events. When Aaliyah was 5 years old, her family moved to Detroit, Michigan, where she was raised along with her older brother, Rashad. She attended a Catholic school, Gisu Elementary, where in first grade she was cast in the stage play Annie, which inspired her to become an entertainer. In Detroit, her father began working in the warehouse business, one of his brother-in-law Barry Hankerson's widening interests. Her mother stayed home and raised Aaliyah and her brother.
Throughout Aaliyah's life, she had a good relationship with Rashad, who recalled Aaliyah having a beautiful voice as a child. Aaliyah's family was very close due to the struggles of her grandparents, and when they moved to Detroit, the Hankersons were ready to take them in if necessary. These same bonds led to ties in the music industry, under the Blackground Records label.
Aaliyah's mother was a vocalist, and her uncle, Barry Hankerson, was an entertainment lawyer who had been married to Gladys Knight. As a child, Aaliyah traveled with Knight and worked with an agent in New York to audition for commercials and television programs, including Family Matters. She went on to appear on Star Search at the age of 10. Aaliyah chose to begin auditioning. Her mother made the decision to drop her surname. She auditioned for several record labels and at age 11 appeared in concerts alongside Knight. She had several pet animals during her childhood, including ducks, snakes and iguanas. Her cousin Jomo had a pet alligator, which Aaliyah felt was too much, remarking, "That was something I wasn't going to stroke."
Her grandmother died in 1991. Years after her death, Aaliyah said her grandmother supported everyone in the family and always wanted to hear her sing, as well as admitting that she spoiled her and her brother Rashad. She also enjoyed Aaliyah singing and would have Aaliyah to sing for her. Aaliyah said she thought of her grandmother whenever she fell into depression. Aaliyah's hands reminded her of her aunt, who died when she was very young and whom Aaliyah remembered as an amazingly beautiful woman.
When she was growing up, Aaliyah attended Detroit schools and believed she was well-liked, but got teased for her short stature. She recalled coming into her own prior to age 15 and grew to love her height. Her mother would tell her to be happy that she was small and compliment her. Other children disliked Aaliyah, but she did not stay focused on them. You always have to deal with people who are jealous, but there were so few it didn't even matter. The majority of kids supported me, which was wonderful. When it comes to dealing with negative people, I just let it in one ear and out the other. Those people were invisible to me. Even in her adult life, she considered herself small. She had learned to accept and love herself and added, "The most important thing is to think highly of yourself because if you don't, no one else will."
During her audition for acceptance to the Detroit High School for the Fine and Performing Arts, Aaliyah sang the song Ave Maria in its entirety in the Italian language. Aaliyah, who maintained a perfect 4.0 grade point average when graduating from high school, felt education was important. She saw fit to keep her grades up despite the pressures and time constraints brought on her during the early parts of her career. She labeled herself as a perfectionist and recalled always being a good student. Aaliyah reflected, "I always wanted to maintain that, even in high school when I first started to travel. I wanted to keep that 4.0. Being in the industry, I don't want kids to think I can just sing and forget about school. I think it's very important to have an education, and even more important to have something to fall back on." She did this in her own life, as she planned to fall back on another part of the entertainment industry. She believed that she could teach music history or open her own school to teach that or drama if she did not make a living as a recording artist because, as she reasoned, when you pick a career it has to be something you love.
After Hankerson signed a distribution deal with Jive Records, he signed Aaliyah to his Blackground Records label at the age of 12. Hankerson later introduced her to recording artist and producer R. Kelly, who became Aaliyah's mentor, as well as lead songwriter and producer of her first album, which was recorded when she was 14. Aaliyah's debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, was released under her mononym Aaliyah by Jive and Blackground Records on May 24, 1994. The album debuted at number 24 on the Billboard 200 chart, selling 74,000 copies in its first week. It ultimately peaked at number 18 on the Billboard 200 and sold over 3 million copies in the United States, where it was certified 2 times platinum by the RIAA. In Canada, the album sold over 50,000 copies and was certified gold by the CRIA. Aaliyah's debut single, Back and Forth, topped the Billboard Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs chart for 3 weeks and was certified gold by the RIAA. The second single, a cover of the Isley Brothers' At Your Best, peaked at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 and was also certified gold by the RIAA. The title track, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, peaked at number 75 on the Hot 100. Additionally, she released The Thing I Like as part of the soundtrack to the 1994 film A Low Down Dirty Shame.
Age Ain't Nothing But a Number received generally favorable reviews from music critics. Some writers noted that Aaliyah's silky vocals and sultry voice blended with Kelly's new jack swing helped define R&B in the 1990s. Her sound was also compared to that of female quartet en vogue. Christopher John Farley of Time magazine described the album as a beautifully restrained work, noting that Aaliyah's girlish, breathy vocals Rod Connolly on R. Kelly's rough beats. Stephen Thomas Erline of AllMusic felt that the album had its share of filler, but described the singles as slyly seductive. He also claimed that the songs on the album were frequently better than that of Kelly's second studio album, 12 Play. The single At Your Best was criticized by Billboard for being out of place on the album and for its length.
In 1996, Aaliyah left Jive Records and signed with Atlantic Records. She worked with record producers Timbaland and Missy Elliott, who contributed to her second studio album, 1 in a Million. Missy Elliott recalled Timbaland and herself being nervous to work with Aaliyah, since Aaliyah had already released her successful debut album while Missy Elliott and Timbaland were just starting out. Missy Elliott also feared she would be a diva, but reflected that Aaliyah came in and was so warming, "She made us immediately feel like family." The album yielded the single If Your Girl Only Knew, which topped the Billboard Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs for 2 weeks. It also generated the singles Hot Like Fire and 4-Page Letter. The following year, Aaliyah was featured on Timbaland and Magoo's debut single, Up Jumps to Boogie. 1 in a Million peaked at number 18 on the Billboard 200, selling 3 million copies in the United States and over 8 million copies worldwide. The album was certified double platinum by the RIAA on June 16, 1997, denoting shipments of 2 million copies. The month prior to 1 in a Million's release, on May 5, 1997, music publisher Windswept Pacific filed a lawsuit in U.S. District Court against Aaliyah, claiming she had illegally copied Bobby Caldwell's What You Won't Do for Love for the single Age Ain't Nothing But a Number.
Aaliyah attended the Detroit High School for the Fine and Performing Arts, where she majored in drama and graduated in 1997 with a 4.0 GPA. Aaliyah began her acting career that same year. She played herself in the police drama television series New York Undercover. During this time, Aaliyah participated in the Children's Benefit Concert, a charity concert that took place at the Beacon Theater in New York. Aaliyah also became the spokesperson for Tommy Hilfiger Corporation. During Aaliyah's campaign with Tommy Hilfiger, the company sold over 400 pairs of the red, white and blue baggy jeans that she wore in their advertisements, which prompted them to restock 5,000 more pairs of those jeans. In 1997, Aaliyah performed the Christmas carol What Child Is This at the annual holiday special Christmas in Washington. She contributed on the soundtrack album for the Fox Animation Studios animated feature Anastasia, performing a cover version of Journey to the Past, which earned songwriters Lynn Ahrens and Stephen Flaherty a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Original Song. Aaliyah performed the song at the 1998 Academy Awards ceremony and became the youngest singer to perform at the event. The song Are You That Somebody was featured on the Dr. Dolittle soundtrack, which earned Aaliyah her first Grammy Award nomination. The song peaked at number 21 on the Hot 100.
In 1999, Aaliyah landed her first film role in Romeo Must Die, released March 22, 2000. Aaliyah starred opposite martial artist Jet Li, playing a couple who fall in love amid their warring families. It grossed $18.6 million in its first weekend, ranking number 2 at the box office. Aaliyah purposely stayed away from reviews of the film to make it easier on herself, but she heard that people were able to get into me, which is what I wanted. In contrast, some critics felt there was no chemistry between her and Jet Li, as well as viewing the film was too simplistic. This was echoed by Elvis Mitchell of the New York Times, who wrote that while Aaliyah was a natural and the film was conceived as a spotlight for both her and Lee, they have so little chemistry together you'd think they're putting out a fire instead of shooting off sparks. Her role was well received by Glenn Oliver by IGN, who liked that she did not portray her character as a victimized female but instead as a strong female who does not come across as an over-the-top women's rights advocate.
In addition to acting, Aaliyah served as an executive producer of the film's soundtrack, where she contributed 4 songs. Try Again was released as a single from the soundtrack. The song topped the Billboard Hot 100, making Aaliyah the first artist to top the chart based solely on airplay. This led the song to be released in a 12 vinyl and 7 single. The music video won the Best Female Video and Best Video from a Film Awards at the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. It also earned her a Grammy Award nomination for Best Female R&B Vocalist. The soundtrack went on to sell 1.5 million copies in the United States.
After completing Romeo Must Die, Aaliyah began to work on her second film, Queen of the Damned. She played the role of an ancient vampire, Queen Akasha, which she described as a manipulative, crazy, sexual being. Filming both Romeo Must Die and Queen of the Damned delayed the release of the album. Aaliyah had not intended for her albums to have such a gap between them. I wanted to take a break after 1 in a Million to just relax, think about how I wanted to approach the next album. Then, when I was ready to start back up, Romeo happened, and so I had to take another break and do that film and then do the soundtrack, then promote it. The break turned into a longer break than I anticipated. Aaliyah enjoyed balancing her singing and acting careers. Though she called music a first for her, she also had been acting since she was young and had wanted to begin acting at some point in my career, but wanted it to be the right time and the right vehicle and felt Romeo must die was it. Connie Johnson of the Los Angeles Times argued that Aaliyah having to focus on her film career may have caused her to not give the album the attention it merited. Collaborator Timbaland concurred, stating that he was briefly in Australia to work on the album while Aaliyah was filming and did not feel the same production had gone into Aaliyah as One in a Million had. He also said Virgin Records had rushed the album and Aaliyah had specifically requested Missy Elliott and Timbaland work on Aaliyah with her.
During the recording stages for the album, Aaliyah's publicist disclosed that the album's release date was most likely in October 2000. Ultimately, she finished recording the album in March 2001, after a year of recording tracks that began in March of the previous year. Aaliyah was released 5 years after One in a Million on July 17, 2001, and it debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, selling 187,000 copies in its first week. The first single from the album, We Need a Resolution, peaked at number 59 on the Billboard Hot 100. The week after Aaliyah's death, her third and self-titled studio album rose from number 19 to number 1 on the Billboard 200. Rock the Boat was released as a posthumous single. The music video premiered on Bet's Access Granted. It became the most viewed and highest-rated episode in the history of the show. The song peaked at number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 2 on the Billboard Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs chart. It was also included on the Now That's What I Call Music 8 compilation series. A portion of the album's profits was donated to the Aaliyah Memorial Fund. Promotional posters for Aaliyah that had been put up in major cities such as New York and Los Angeles became makeshift memorials for grieving fans.
More Than a Woman and I Care For You were released as posthumous singles and peaked within the top 25 of the Billboard Hot 100. The album was certified double platinum by the RIAA and sold 2.6 million copies in the United States. More Than a Woman reached number 1 on the UK singles chart, making Aaliyah the first female deceased artist to reach number 1 on the UK singles chart. More Than a Woman was replaced by George Harrison's My Sweet Lord, which is the only time in the UK singles charts history where a dead artist has replaced another dead artist at number 1. In July 2001, she allowed MTV's show Diary behind-the-scenes access to her life and stated, "I am truly blessed to wake up every morning to do something that I love. There is nothing better than that." She continued, "Everything is worth it, the hard work, the times when you're tired, the times when you are a bit sad. In the end, it's all worth it because it really makes me happy. I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world. I've got good friends, a beautiful family, and I've got a career. I thank God for His blessings every single chance I get."
Aaliyah was signed to appear in several future films, including Honey, a romantic film titled Some Kind of Blue, and a Whitney Houston-produced remake of the 1976 film Sparkle. Whitney Houston recalled Aaliyah being so enthusiastic about the film and wanting to appear in the film so badly. Houston also voiced her belief that Aaliyah was more than qualified for the role, and the film was shelved after she died, since Aaliyah had gone to a better place. Studio officials of Warner Brothers stated that Aaliyah and her mother had both read the script for Sparkle. According to them, Aaliyah was passionate about playing the lead role of a young singer in a girl group. The film was released in 2012, 11 years after Aaliyah's death. Before her death, Aaliyah was cast in the sequels of The Matrix as the character Z. She had filmed part of her role in The Matrix Reloaded and was scheduled to film and reprise her role in The Matrix Revolutions as Z. Aaliyah told Access Hollywood that she was beyond happy to have landed the role. The role was subsequently recast to Nona Gay. Aaliyah's scenes were included in the tribute section of the Matrix Ultimate Collection series. In November 2001, Ronald Isley stated that Aaliyah and the Isley brothers had discussed a collaboration prior to her death. She had previously covered the Isley brothers' single At Your Best. Prior to her death, She expressed the possibility of recording songs for the Queen of the Dance soundtrack and welcomed the possibility of collaborating with Jonathan Davis. By 2001, Aaliyah had enjoyed her now 7-year career and felt a sense of accomplishment. "This is what I always wanted," she said of her career in Vibe magazine. "I breathe to perform, to entertain. I can't imagine myself doing anything else. I'm just a really happy girl right now. I honestly love every aspect of this business. I really do. I feel very fulfilled and complete."
Aaliyah had the vocal range of a soprano. With the release of her debut album May Ain't Nothing But a Number, writer Dimitri Ehrlich of Entertainment Weekly compared her style and sound to Randy B. Group and Vogue. Ehrlich also expressed that Aaliyah's silky vocals are more agile than those of self-proclaimed queen of hip-hop soul Mary J. Blige. In her review for Aaliyah's second studio album One in a Million Vibe magazine, music critic Dream Hampton said that Aaliyah's deliciously feline voice has the same pop appeal as Janet Jackson's. Aaliyah described her sound as street but sweet, which featured her gentle vocals over a hard beat. Though Aaliyah did not write any of her own material, her lyrics were described as in-depth. She incorporated Randy B, pop, and hip-hop into her music. Her songs were often up-tempo and at the same time often dark, revolving around matters of the heart. After her R. Kelly produced debut album, Aaliyah worked with Timbaland and Missy Elliott, whose productions were more electronic. Sasha Frere-Jones of The Wire finds Aaliyah's Are You That Somebody to be Timbaland's masterpiece and exemplary of his production's start-stop rhythms, with big half-second pauses between beats and voices. Keith Harris of Rolling Stone cites Are You That Somebody as one of 90s Randy B's most astounding moments.
Aaliyah's songs have been said to have crisp production and staccato arrangements that extend genre boundaries while containing old-school soul music. Cliff Asena of the New York Times called Aaliyah a digital diva who wove a spell with ones and zeros, and writes that her songs comprised simple vocal riffs, repeated and refracted to echo the manipulated loops that create digital rhythm, as Timbaland's computer-programmed beats fitted perfectly with her cool, breathy voice to create a new kind of electronic music. When she experimented with other genres on Aaliyah, such as Latin pop and heavy metal, Entertainment Weekly's Craig Seymour panned the attempt. While analyzing her eponymous album, British publication NME felt that Aaliyah's radical third album was intended to consolidate her position as U.S. Rand's most experimental artist. As her albums progressed, writers felt that Aaliyah matured, calling her progress a declaration of strength and independence. ABC News noted that Aaliyah's music was evolving from the punchy pop-influenced hip-hop and R&B to a more mature, introspective sound on her third album. Stephen Thomas Erlewine of AllMusic described her eponymous album, Aaliyah, as a statement of maturity and a stunning artistic leap forward and called it one of the strongest urban soul records of its time. She portrayed unfamiliar sounds, styles and emotions, but managed to please critics with the contemporary sound it contained. Ernest Hardy of Rolling Stone felt that Aaliyah reflected a stronger technique, where she gave her best vocal performance. Prior to her death, Aaliyah expressed a desire to learn about the burgeoning UK garage scene she had heard about at the time.
As an artist, Aaliyah often voiced that she was inspired by a number of performers. These include Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Sade, En Vogue, 9 Inch Nails, Corinth, Prince, Naughty by Nature, Johnny Mathis, Janet Jackson, and Barbra Streisand. Aaliyah expressed that Michael Jackson's Thriller was her favorite album and that nothing will ever top Thriller. She stated that she admired Sade because she stays true to her style no matter what. She's an amazing artist, an amazing performer, and I absolutely love her. Aaliyah expressed she had always desired to work with Janet Jackson, whom she had drawn a frequent comparison to over the course of her career, stating, "I admire her a great deal. She's a total performer. I'd love to do a duet with Janet Jackson." Jackson reciprocated Aaliyah's affections, commenting, "I've loved her from the beginning because she always comes out and does something different, musically." Jackson also stated she would have enjoyed collaborating with Aaliyah.
Aaliyah focused on her public image throughout her career. She often wore baggy clothes and sunglasses, stating that she wanted to be herself. She described her image as being important. to differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack. She often wore black clothing, starting a trend for similar fashion among women in United States and Japan. Aaliyah's fashionable style has been credited for being an influence on new fashion trends called health goth and ghetto goth, also known as GHE20GOTH1K. Aaliyah participated in fashion designer Tommy Hilfiger's All-America tour and was featured in Tommy Jean ads, which depicted her in boxer shorts, baggy jeans, and a tube top. Hilfiger's brother, Andy, called it a whole new look that was classy but sexy. Carson Daly, a former VJ on MTV's Total Request Live, commented on Aaliyah's style by saying that she was cutting edge, always one step ahead of the curve, and that the TRL audience looks to her to figure out what's hot and what's new.
When she changed her hairstyle, Aaliyah took her mother's advice and covered her left eye, much like Veronica Lake. The look has become known as her signature and been referred to as fusion of unnerving emotional honesty and a sense of mystique. In 1998, she hired a personal trainer to keep in shape and exercised 5 days a week and ate diet foods. Aaliyah was praised for her clean-cut image and moral values. Robert Christgau of The Village Voice wrote of Aaliyah's artistry and image: "She was light and dulcet in a way that signified neither jailbait nor haughty, an ingenue whose selling point was sincerity, not innocence, and the obverse it implies."
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.